Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paisakyadesatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaurabhaktarinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We welcome His Holiness Devamrita Swami with great joy in our hearts because Maharaj is, in my opinion, the greatest champion of book distribution in the world. He's my foremost encourager and mentor in my life. And whenever I see him or think of him, I become joyful and I feel like life is worth living. And I'm so happy you came here, Maharaj. And today we're also going to have my very dear friend Vijay Prabhu speak. He's the Minister of Book Distribution for the whole world. He's a stalwart. In the dictionary, if you look next to the word stalwart, you'll see a picture of Vijay Prabhu, because that's what he is through and through. Devamrita Swami, I'm very happy to report to you that this year, for some reason, Bhadra has finally caught fire.
Haribol!
We've been messing around the last few years, and somehow or other, playing with fire, it caught, and it's sweeping the world, but it's not big enough for us, and that's why we decided to bring in the heavy hitters, and that's why we invited you to please come and talk. So, with my humble obeisances at your lotus feet, thank you very much for coming here, and we're very, very eager to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Hari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I don't deserve such a privilege to speak to such an exalted assembly. Young devotees, older devotees, and of course, pushed on by His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu. Whatever little value I can add, I consider that to be a great benediction upon me. Let's consider first the situation of the world in terms of global influences. Everyone knows by now that there are so many massive forces operating in the world. Foremost on everyone's mind currently is COVID-19, a worldwide phenomenon. Then you have the threat of nuclear weapons, and that threat is more acute than ever, the geopolitical experts say. And meanwhile, climate change is starting to reveal its full portfolio of brutal blows. What about the global influence of sets of Srila Prabhupada's books? He always saw his books as a planetary influence. You've heard of grahas. In fact, in the 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj says that he's under the influence of what planet? The Krishna graha. He's under the influence of Krishna Loka. He's feeling the graha, the influence of that planet. Srila Prabhupada's sets were envisioned by him as a means for massive transformation. We shouldn't discount book distribution as just some kind of ritual or mechanical activity. No, it is the spreading of Krishna himself. Because when people have a set of books, their life is never the same. And you all know about the special benefits Shastra says that can accrue to one who distributes a set of Bhagavatams on Bhadra Purnima. We don't know the depths to what we are doing. Everything about the bhakti process is actually beyond our calculation in terms of estimating the outcomes. When, where, how. What comes to my mind, first of all, is Prabhupada telling the devotees who were operating in the Soviet bloc behind the old Iron Curtain that if his books are distributed there, the Soviet state is finished. It was impossible to conceive of such a thing ever happening. But when some devotees took that message to heart, even though they couldn't see the results, amazing things happen. And amazing things can continue to happen. We've only just begun. We don't know the full extent of the potent effects. Just like it is a fact that anyone who chants the Panchatattva mantra and then chants the Hare Krishna mantra is perfect. Wait a minute. I mean, so many people are chanting the Panchatattva mantra and Hare Krishna mantra one time. How can you say they're perfect? Everything depends on your vision. On the bhakti platform of pure spirituality, time and space are of no consequence. Or you could look at the situation another way and say that it's just time separating the person from their perfection. But the seed has already been planted. You know Prabhupada's example, ripe mango, unripe mango. There's actually no difference. Simply a question of time. If you leave the unripe mango on the windowsill in the sun, after a while, it'll become ripe. So that is the reality to bhakti perfection in this golden age of Mahaprabhu. So yes, we can see the world is in a calamitous situation. Someone might say, as always, but the calamitous situation is more obvious now. Sometimes it's said that the greatest tragedy of the 21st century, this present century, is that everyone's forgotten the tragedies of the 20th century. This is the nature of ignorance, the avidya shakti, the nescience potency. I like one Bhagavatam verse that focuses on this point of forgetfulness, that what is there that's not possible to forget due to the covering of illusory energy? We like to focus on remembering. I remembered this, I remembered that. But this verse flips the situation over. It says, what is possible not to forget? You're in an ocean of forgetfulness. Why focus on remembrance? Look at the reality that you're drowning in it. You're drowning in an ocean of forgetfulness. So don't be surprised about a particular point that you forget, especially you forget who you are. It seems that unless human beings have a calamity happen right under their nose, they forget so quickly that there are such things as mass calamities. Into those troubled waters comes the set. Srila Prabhupada's books. You'll see miracles happen. And I'm so happy that, engineered by His Grace Vaisesika and his mighty team throughout the world, that we have an international organizational effort for distributing sets. I know that there has been set distribution going on in this locale, that locale. Wonderful. But to have it all linked together in a mighty global effort shows devotees that there is something going on. Something's happening on this planet more than just COVID and nuclear weapons and climate change. We really need to see that reality, and it is a reality. And the more we hook up with this book distribution effort and seize the opportunity of the full set distribution, the more we'll see. You can't see what Mahaprabhu's doing unless you endeavor his way by carrying out his order. We won't get the vision to understand. We'll always be on the mental, doubtful, lackadaisical. But when you wade into that Sankirtan ocean and start to swim, you experience what's actually going on and you become unshakable. So I'm speaking from down under, way down under. Last stop before the South Pole. I'm sequestered in New Zealand. First time in 25 years, I haven't been on an international flight for such a long period of time. 6 months without an international flight. But I'm happy that the Bhadra Purnima campaign is enlisting the wonderful devotees endeavoring to distribute sets in New Zealand, Australia. I've actually become so happy hearing that one devotee based in Sydney, Ganesham Prabhu, he's jumped the gun. He's been organizing for a few months at the behest of Ramai Swami, His Holiness Ramai Swami, the co-GBC for Australia and New Zealand. So things are already happening, but when we plug everything into the global picture, then you start to feel extraordinary surcharges of transcendental energy. Because the acharyas want a global flood. What does Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita say? The universe is already flooded. Remember the point about if they just chant the Panchatattva mantra and the Hare Krishna mantra, they're already perfect. If they just get a full set, especially on Bhadra Purnima, what happens? Well, Kaviraj Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita says the universe is already flooded. We just need the eyes to see that. So please, let's ramp things up. For someone to get a full set and have it in their home means life is never the same. It'll never be the same. So we have a golden opportunity to experience the dynamics of the internal potency in the form of this global endeavor, this global effort. Now, especially in nations which have a smaller population, this set distribution is important. It's important everywhere, but since I'm down under, I'll put in a special plea for the population realities down under. Less people, 5 million people in New Zealand, 23 million people in Australia. So you might think, well, we've already approached so many people have a book. But how many people have a set? Let's take things to a higher level. And as I said, I'm so happy to hear that Ganesham Prabhu, based in Sydney, has reached out all across Australia, and they set a goal. And they're just short of their goal right now on Bhadra Purnima is yet to come. But of course, they let them smash past their goal. Life can be very exciting in bhakti, even during lockdowns. It's amazing how from one chakra in California, so much vibration, so many tremors are emanating. When you look at the news about California, you hear about heat waves, blackouts, wildfires, and COVID. But there's something much more monumental going on than all that. So let it increase. So I thank you all very much for your wonderful efforts to drown the whole world. And as His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu said, this year things are actually clicking. Let's make bigger plans, join together, distribute the sets, and attract the mercy of the parampara. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj. May I ask you one or two questions, please?
We are your servant.
Maharaj, I'm your servant, life after life. One question is, in distributing Bhagavatams to people, what kind of mantras or what kind of realizations do you think it's important to impart to the person, that people that we're approaching? What kind of concepts, when you travel all over the world and you're meeting people and you're instilling Krishna consciousness in their heart, what are ways to make those bridges?
We are not operating alone. We are working in tandem with Paramatma, the super soul. And you don't know what's going to happen until you swing into action and present the books. You don't know who's going to take and who's not going to take, because as the Upanishads say, Dwa Suparna Sayuja Sakaya. There are two birds on the tree of the body. There is the enjoying bird and the witness bird. We don't know how the Paramatma is going to motivate the person. You'll find out. And it's always such a drama. It's the greatest drama. It's the greatest show on earth. So always remember that you're working on behalf of the Lord in the heart. Of course, there's the spiritual master, the external representative of the Lord in the heart. And then there is the Lord in the heart, Paramatma. And so you're a part of a team. And that team makes impossible things happen. Can I tell a story, Vaisesika Prabhu? Do we have time?
Please,
I was telling this
you have
story.
all the time in the world. Just go as long as you like.
I was telling this story here in Wellington, New Zealand, about, you have to know something about America to understand this story, especially America in the 70s, 60s. I was doing traveling Sankirtan with another devotee from the New York Temple, and we were sent way down south, which for persons of color could be a very interesting experience. So we were so far south, we were in Mobile, Alabama. That's, you don't know where that is, but it's it's on the coast. It's on the Gulf. There's just water afterwards. So there we were, distributing books in the center of the city, full of enthusiasm and oblivious to the sociological context. In fact, we figured out a way to stop people at stoplights, traffic lights. I was a person of color. My Sankirtan partner was white. So when the light turned red, we would walk out into the intersection, arm around each other's shoulder. And people would go. So the rednecks would look with hatred. Oh, just see what this country is coming to. And the few liberal persons were, we're not so bad after all. Just see. There's hope. We're good people. We appreciate diversity. So there we were, carrying on like that, trying our best to distribute books. And we were kind of naive. We didn't realize that sooner or later, the police are going to show up. And they did. Police car pulls up as we were on the sidewalk waiting for the light to change, and so we could venture out into traffic again. Big stereotype looking Southern policeman comes out, big pot belly. What your boys doing here? And then he pointed to me, especially you, boy. What y'all think you doing? So we just said, we're just monks. We're distributing these spiritual religious books. That's all. Are you boys crazy? Where y'all from? We said, New York. New York. Boys, don't you know this is the deep South? In fact, you on the Gulf of Mexico. You can't get any further south than the good old USA than this. I tell you what, boys, y'all get into the back of my car. We're going to take you in. So he took us to the police station, and there was a whole crew of police waiting. And he announced to his fellows, I got some boys from New York. Can you believe it? These fools come down here to Mobile, Alabama, selling books at a street corner. So they really ridiculed us, and it got worse though. The guy said, the policeman said to his other police fellows, he pointed to me, and this boy, I got some news for him. Boy, you come with me into the back room. I'm going to teach you a lesson you ain't never going to forget. I said, uh-oh, what's happening now? It's just like in the movies, civil rights worker shot in the back of the head after digging his own grave, or I didn't know what was going to happen. Just come on with me, boy. And the other police officer said, yeah, you go with him. So I didn't know what was waiting for me in the back room, a shovel where I was supposed to dig my own grave in the backyard or something. As soon as we got in the back room, he completely changed. Son, I'm sorry. I had to put on an act for the others. Son, let me tell you my situation. My wife is dying of cancer. Is there anything in those books you have that can help me? I was shocked. Wait, what's going on here? I pulled out a hardcover Krishna book, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And I explained how these books will elevate his consciousness beyond any bodily catastrophes. And these books will introduce him to the science of the soul. He just looked at me like a drowning man looking at a lifeguard. Son, how much can I give you? He gave $50. And then he said, now, please forgive me, son. It was no longer boy, it was son. I have to take you out into the main room again, and I'm going to have to change. So I'm going to have to change my behavior. But please, forgive me. Don't mind. After all, this is Mobile, Alabama, and these things are going on. So he took me back out into the main room of the police station, and the other police officers were just waiting with my Sankirtan partner. What you do to him? Did you? Oh my God. Did you? And he put on the act. Yeah, I gave that boy a piece of my mind. Yeah, I roughed him up a bit. Nothing you can see. No, I left no physical marks. And so that was that. Your boys, get out of town right now. We'll leave it at that. And so the police officer who had bought the books, he had carefully, when no one was looking, tucked them under in a closet, where no one saw him do that, And then he just participated with the others. Yeah, y'all boys get out of town. And he kind of winked at us. So these are amazing things that can happen in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. I'm sure you all have much more ecstatic stories to tell.
I doubt
again,
it.
Thank you for Bhadra Purnima, the
Can I
global
ask one
effort.
more question, Maharaj?
Okay.
Can you represent to us what Prabhupada would say or what he would feel about the devotees putting their energy into book distribution the way they are right now during this lockdown? Anything you can recall from what he said to you and others at the time, and maybe just represent for us so we can feel what Prabhupada would be feeling or saying.
Prabhupada always wanted his sets distributed, and devotees were always telling him, it's not possible. We've investigated all options. Encyclopedia sellers, they do this, and we don't have that, and on and on and on. And So Prabhupada listened, and he said, after everyone presented all their reasons, and he seemed to accept it. He listened. And they gave a full report. It can't be done because of this, can't be done because of that. And after listening to the whole spiel, Prabhupada just said, I still think it's possible.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
I thank
you were
you
about
all.
to say more. Okay.
No, I'm just
All
getting intoxicated by the association. So I ask you to please lead us onward, Vaisesika Prabhu.
Okay, Maharaj. And I understood that you may have other things you have to attend to, so feel free. We'll if that happens, we will definitely feel separation. But if it, you do whatever's necessary, because we just
All
feel
right.
lucky we got you on here.
I
in the
thank
first
you
place.
all.
Hare Krishna.
Glory to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Jai Maharaj. Gaur Premanande
Haribol.
Haribol. Hare Krishna. Gyanasham Govinda Prabhu and Bhavas Sandhi Devi Dasi, could you tell us a little bit of what you're doing down there and what's working? Maybe just give a report so all the devotees can hear. I'll just mention that something that Maharaj mentioned, the mission of the Bhadra Purnima. Actually, we've had a mission for some years now to unite the world so that we can work as one team globally and expand book distribution without considering borders. There's always some competition going on, but there's a sense that there's more strength in numbers. And when Bhadra Purnima started emerging a few years ago, we started feeling that power of cooperating, sharing information, and seeing as going towards one team goal globally. And we'd love to hear from you down there, what you're doing, and we want to be more connected with you as part of the global team. So please tell us. Gyanasham Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare
Go right
Krishna.
ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of all the devotees in Australasia. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to participate in this global Sankirtan Yagya. So we started the campaign about 3 months ago, and we sent out the communication package, which the Bhadra Purnima team global has sent us. We sent it to the different centers and different temples. In all, we had 11 temples and centers participating in this global Yagya throughout Australia. Bhavasandhi Mataji can actually give update on the scene in New Zealand. So the first step we actually asked everyone to do is to set a goal for them. We were repeating your lines from our family business, commitment empowers action. So then that was the first step which many devotees actually started with. And for most of us, this is the first time we are ever participating in Bhadra campaign. I think in the past few years, I think 1 or 2 temples at the most took part in it. But this year, this year 11 temples and centers, they put their hand up and they said they can actually set some modest goals, some achievable goals, and they can then proceed towards meeting those targets. So after keeping that, then we started reaching out to different contacts through online media, through our congregation, through visitors who come to temple, through so many other means. We have a team of, in Sydney, for example, we have a team of brahmacharis who are still doing traveling Sankirtan in the countryside where the restrictions aren't that much. But we are limiting our book distribution, just going door to door, just to maintain the social distancing like that. So in different ways, we came up with those approaches, venues to distribute the books. And one good thing that happened in this campaign is as soon as we took the responsibility of distributing books as a collective one to the general congregation, for our temple, I can actually speak, we have close to 50 devotees now actively participating. So more than the number of sets we distributed, I think it's a wonderful development that we have actually had in the congregation book distribution scene in Australia. And I hear similar news from other temples as well. So they reached out to different contacts, different small group members, Bhakti Vriksha members, Bhakti Shastri, or even devotees who or visitors who come to the temple or restaurants like that. So that way they are able to reach out to so many different temples. And we were also doing some call outs also using Yellow Pages. And so we are wherever we are. We set a total target of about 233 sets across all the 11 centers and temples. And as we speak now, the latest score is about 223. So we are still 10 short. Most of our temples have actually gone past the target. Definitely with a few more days left, we would still like to smash that, go past the target, and hopefully double that next year. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful opportunity. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Shama Mohini Mataji for coordinating, for helping us, and for guiding us step by step at every stage. So we are definitely looking forward, and hopefully Vaisesika Prabhu will be blessed to have your Sangha sometime in future if you have time to visit us down under. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for that report. If they ever let me out of my cage here, I'll definitely come down. Does Bhava Sandhi also want to say anything?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Please accept the humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, we're just really inspired by how all the devotees are doing this year. This is New Zealand's third year joining in the Bhadra campaign. So we've got a few more groups online this year. One of the preaching centres in Wellington. We kind of had our plan for Bhadra this year, and then we suddenly went back into lockdown up in Auckland again, the day of Janmashtami, which was going to be we have our biggest plans for Janmashtami and Radhastami. So we kind of had to make a quick change back to advertising online, because you can't have more than 10 people together or visit any temples or anything like that. So we've had a few obstacles this year, but yeah, it's been very inspiring, especially the devotees down in one of the preaching centres in Wellington, Bhakti Lounge. They were doing a bit of a marathon, and they were having some nice experiences with selling full sets of Srimad Bhagavatam on book tables, which is something that we're just starting to do in New Zealand before. It's getting into the book tables, and they had some real nectar stories about doing Bhagavatam sets to complete strangers on the book tables, which has been very inspiring, and they hope to carry on and look into different avenues in that direction. So we've still got a few days left. We were very inspired also by your presentation, Vaisesika Prabhu, about congregation, the calling parties. And so up in Auckland, we were, during the lockdown, we also were doing the calling parties. So for the Bhadra campaign this year as well, we were encouraging devotees to contact their contacts and their friends as well. So kind of spreading out trying to cast a wider net to people who might not have books before. So we've been doing some online promotions, through Facebook, emailing, just trying to contact as many people as we can, seeing as we can't physically go out at the moment. So we've got a few days left, and with your blessings, we can distribute some more books. So please send your blessings for us.
Tatastu. Hare Krishna. Mataji, let me ask you, at the tables, what do you tell people?
Is Soumya Mai from Wellington there? Is she online at the moment? I think some of the Bhakti Lounge devotees, we'll see if anyone puts their hand up, because there may be some people there who Anybody from Wellington there that can tell us about your set distribution on tables? Have a little look a second.
We can come back to him if. Is anybody there that has some Bhakti Lounge? You're on mute, just in case you're trying to talk.
Would anybody from Bhakti Lounge like to say anything?
Hare Krishna.
Putting you on the
Come
spot.
on, spill the beans. Tell us how you're doing it.
So we were inspired by the book tables happening in America, and so we decided when lockdown was, the restrictions were released a little, we started to go out in the street with tables, so it was more approachable, more dynamic for people. And so basically we just took the whole Bhagavatam set on the street with us and put it on the tables everywhere we went, inside supermarkets and outside stores. And then somehow or another, a lot of, well, what was it, over 5 days? Over a 5-day period, 6 people took Srimad Bhagavatam sets.
So what did you tell them?
It depended, because some people were just looking at the table and all the books, and then they would be attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam. So, I mean, some of the devotees here were the ones who distributed the sets, maybe Madhava. Some people were just naturally attracted, and then we would just try to explain this as an encyclopedia of spiritual knowledge. It covers all the topics from Bhagavad Gita, extends on them. Yeah, somehow people took.
The sign on your table says inner wellness.
Said
Somebody
inner
wrote, Gora Artik says the sign on their table says inner wellness.
we wrote inner well-being, conscious living, books for donation, and then on the other side it says yoga, meditation, books for donation. It depended on what kind of town we were in.
That's nice. So it kind of follows that law that the more you show, the more you sell, right?
Yeah, we were inspired by you.
Yeah, very nice. Good to see the whole team. Keep up the great work. Hare Krishna. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna. May you smash all your Bhadra goals. Smash them.
Thank you.
Now, I'd like to introduce, well, he doesn't really need any introduction, but it's my pleasure to introduce him. It's Vijay Prabhu. One day, I was at the Rath Yatra with him many years ago at the beach in Venice Beach, California, for Los Angeles Rath Yatra. And we were at the book booth together, and he's very methodical in distributing books. And so he had a set of Bhagavatam set up on the back of the table. And if somebody said they had the Bhagavad Gita, then he'd point to the Bhagavatam set and would say, why didn't you take it? And I was thinking, who's going to buy a whole set of Bhagavatams at the beach? And then I got busy. I was talking to other people. And after about an hour, I forgot about it. And I turned around and the set was gone. And I said, Vijay Prabhu, where'd the set go? And he said, I just sold it. And that really left a samskar in my mind. Never give up. Just keep showing, because you don't know who's going to come along. It's like churning the milk ocean. Who knows what's going to come out? You have to just keep churning and churning. And Vijay Prabhu has been churning that ocean for many, many years. He's the Minister of Book Distribution for the world. And Vijay Prabhu, welcome to the meeting. Please give us a little inspiration or insight, whatever you'd like to say.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatamarandasya Jnananjana Sadakaya Chakshramalitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kota Bhachalam Anumam Hayate Kripataram Shri Guru Taranam Vanchikapatubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I must say, I'm astonished. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, you wouldn't hear of people selling sets on the street. I couldn't believe it. The ladies, they said they just did 6 sets in 5 days. I mean, that's unbelievable. Shastra Krit also, he's selling sets on the street there. It's amazing. I'm sure Srila Prabhupada is very, very pleased. What's interesting, I was just thinking that when Prabhupada came, he was selling sets. Of course, not full sets. Srimad, the first canto, he brought 200 sets from India, and that's how he said that's how he was maintaining. He had put them on consignment. Some of the devotees still have these sets. That's what he was doing. So I can't imagine how pleased Srila Prabhupada is by all these thousands and thousands of sets going out to people. I was just distributing books today at Balboa Park, and I had a number of books on the table, and there was one Srimad Bhagavatam on the table, first volume. And one student came to the table and she said, "Oh yeah, I have a lot of these books here. But you know this one here?" She pointed to the Srimad Bhagavatam. "That's my favorite. I really like that one." So it's called the Amala Puranam, the spotless Purana. So attractive. And yeah, just by having the Srimad Bhagavatam in people's home, it's like having a deity in the home. So auspicious. We can't imagine how much people are benefiting just by having the Srimad Bhagavatam in their home. I heard that Srila Prabhupada, he said, when you distribute the Srimad Bhagavatam, you should tell them that this Srimad Bhagavatam is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. And persons who have lost their ability to see in this dark age of Kali will get vision from this Purana. And I heard Vaisesika Prabhu used to tell people that on Sankirtan, and people would take the book. Yes? Yeah. So, yeah, Prabhupada was so pleased and is so pleased by this book distribution, especially of these sets. And the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says in a purport that you could read the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita thousands of times. And each time you read it, you're going to get new insight in the subject matter. So what book in the world can someone read thousands of times and they're still going to appreciate it? It's not possible. And Vaisesika Prabhu has this amazing setup with Prabhupada's books. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam, 41 pages a day, you finish it in 1 year. So yeah, you could read year after year after year after year. And then a nice thing about Kali Yuga is that we're very forgetful. So when you read it again, I don't remember reading that. So it's kind of one of the advantages of Kali Yuga. We're forgetful. So it's like, sometimes it's like reading it the first time. So yeah, we're giving people treasures by which they can uplift their lives. I want to read something. This is hot off the press. I just got a letter from a devotee who heard the Zoom class yesterday, and he was so inspired that night, it wasn't dark yet, but he just thought, let me go out and distribute some Srimad Bhagavatam. So here it is. His name is Misra Bhagavan. He's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he was on the Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party. So here's what he has to say. Humble obeisances. On Friday, the 27th of August, 2020, Vaisesika Prabhu put out a video of Indra Swami and Jayapataka Swami stressing the importance of distributing Srimad Bhagavatam on that special day. Although busy, I felt like I had to get out. It was late in the evening in Texas with a little daylight remaining. I put a Srimad Bhagavatam in my book bag and went out to the nearest shopping area. Approaching people who were coming out of an Albertsons, I was getting the usual rejections that come with going out. I had on my face mask and glove. Joseph of Africa descent took interest in the Blue Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, first volume. He gave a couple of dollars and did well reciting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra from the card. Hoping that Krishna would provide the Lakshmi for the Srimad Bhagavatam, I met Trent. He was sitting there in his listening to his friend on the phone. I handed him the spiritual yoga by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Trent has been reading Bhagavad Gita online and has a copy of the Mahabharata at his home. Unusual for someone who is not from India. He gave me $20 and recited the Hare Krishna mantra like a pro. Then Tina bought a spiritual yoga because the book was the same color as her hair. Julio bought a Spanish Perfection of Yoga, and Rosina, another spiritual yoga. Although Julio mispronounced Krishna, they all tried to chant Hare Krishna from the mantra card. Now it was dark as they headed to the car. Jacob was loading groceries into his vehicle as I handed him a copy of spiritual yoga. I figured it would not hurt to try. He gave me back the book, saying that he had a library of books at home, but handed me $5 anyway. So I said, if you have a library, put the book on the shelf. No library should be without a book by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He agreed and took back the book, then did well reciting the Hare Krishna mantra. So I thought that was kind of inspiring. Give you an idea. There's, from these Zoom meetings, people are getting inspired. I mean, who knows how many people will be inspired by this? So I'm inspired by it. I mean, this is just unbelievable. This goes to the credit, of course, by Vaisesika Prabhu and your team of devotees that are doing so much here in San Diego from all these Zoom meetings and this surge of getting Srimad Bhagavatams out to the people. Now they have a goal of 50 sets.
Haribo!
For this Bhadra Punim. So we've already distributed over 20. It's never happened before. In 1 month, they did 20 sets. Never before has this happened.
Wow.
So, all over the world, just amazing things are happening. So this is so encouraging. So I don't know if I have much more to say.
Thank you very much, Vijay Prabhu. We're just happy you came. And the words you spoke were very penetrating and very powerful, as is your presence always. Thank you very much for all you do all over the planet and the way that you've showed by your example how to be a devotee, how to be a steady, very deeply practicing bhakta of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna.
You're my main inspiration.
Kochira koso, as they say in Japan, right back at you. Hari Hari Bo, Vijay Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna. Monisha, let's show a few slides. Let's look at these slides and we'll have a little conversation, or a big one, as you choose. I just want to show you these to churn a little bit. Go to Goloka is the campaign we started at Mayapur during the Mayapur festival. I suppose that was in February. And we handed out buttons and talked to everyone. We took a picture with all the GBCs. They give us a couple hours every year from the BBT to talk about what's going on with book distribution. Isn't this a nice slide? I think Anukul Seva made this. It's really beautiful, but just think about what's calling us, how Krishna's calling us to go to Goloka and be with him, and how he wants us to bring as many other people as possible. And you just let that sink in, what we're actually inviting people to do. If they don't know about the goal, then they won't be able to develop a desire to go there. And so, Maya Mugdha Jivana Nahi Swata Krishna Gyan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says it's not automatic. People don't automatically know about it. You have to tell them. And the book, Anartopasanam Sakshat Bhakti Yogam and Hoksajay, Lokasya Ajanato Vidvams, Chakre Satvata Samhitam. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the book that tells people everything and reveals Goloka completely and how to get there and why not to stay in the material world. It's such a sublime mission. There's nothing like it. Okay, go ahead, Monisha. Next slide. So if somebody would adjust this slide instead of making at least be one word, every time I show this, it makes me cringe a little bit how at least is one word here. But get at least one set for yourself. I don't know. Maybe it's in the Oxford English Dictionary and I just missed it. Get at least one set for yourself. Gift at least one set. Sponsor at least one set. Or give referrals for at least 5 worthy recipients. So we included all these ways that somebody could participate and also have their name mentioned at the huge yagya we're going to have at Ahobilam on Tuesday. Somebody asked me today, why are you doing a fire yagya? We're the Sankirtan movement. We're doing it to attract attention because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to hold these big Sankirtan festivals. On the perimeter of the festival, he would put up Ferris wheels, cotton candy, and it looked like just a carnival going on. And people would run in there, and then they'd accidentally move to the interior, and they'd get caught by the devotees and have to become Krishna conscious. So we do such things as put on big yagyas and so forth to also attract attention to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's see the next slide. This is what we've been sending out, inviting people to participate. It'll be a several-hour affair, and the yagya will go on with a split screen with many different devotees and musicians and dancers and so forth, putting on artistic renditions to glorify the Bhagavatam or speaking about the Bhagavatam. That starts at 7:30 India time. Here's what it looks like over in your neck of the woods as far as the numbers we've gotten so far. Ganesham, does that look accurate, or is this an insult to your whole continent?
It looks almost accurate, except some locations have to be moved up or down, but figures look good.
You mean we got cities in the wrong place?
Yeah.
That's called gerrymandering. That's what we do here in America to get more votes for a particular political party. Okay, we'll fix that. Thank you very much. I think that happened on our map too in North America as well. But the numbers look pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Nice showing.
What is that 100 down there on the bottom?
That's the Hare Krishna, that's the new temple community we have in Sydney.
Oh.
What is that new community?
We have a new temple project that we started a few years ago. So we don't have a building yet, but we have a growing group of wonderful devotees who have taken up book distribution seriously, and they have distributed. So they have distributed 100 sets even before building a center or a temple, anything.
Well, that's because they didn't put the cart before the horse. And that's my community. Always best to start with relationships and Sankirtan and let the building fall on your head. In my humble opinion. Hare Krishna. Here we go. Okay, then we have the United States of America. A little view of what's going on in various places. So just for effect, because it's nice to see the many points, and our success and stability really is based on a lot of places, a lot of people doing a little bit everywhere. Questions, comments? Okay, and then we have India, the behemoth, where we're getting the lion's share of distribution towards the 10,000 that we've been shooting for. And you can see the scores there. And here's the rest of the world with Bhaktivedanta Manor really making a showing this year. And we've been reaching out and developing a network of leaders around the world to work together, to organize, to train, to make a quota for each place so we can estimate how we're going to do. And the idea is to keep scaling Bhadra up more and more and coming together more and more to share resources, information, set goals collectively and so forth. I think there's going to be collateral benefits that come from all this. Don't you? Ganesham Prabhu? Ganesham Prabhu's on mute. Okay, that's it. Let's see the last ones. If anybody needs any resources or wants to check out some of what is going on, if you haven't already, and many of you already have, it's at the following links that you can take with you. And anything else? Okay, let's just take a few minutes to see if there's any reflections from anything that you heard so far or any questions that you want to ask. If you feel like you have something, contribute so the rest of the devotees who are either hearing this now or will be hearing the recording later, you want to amplify something or bring up something new or ask a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, there are already a few questions that devotees have asked. Can we read those out?
Please do.
So we have a question here from a devotee named Janava Mataji, and she has questions regarding how we can follow up with people whom we distribute books to and how we can practically make them understand and help them read and practice the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam in their life.
This is an excellent question. Every time we distribute a book or give a talk or present any kind of event, it's very helpful to already have the next steps in place that the people can take. For instance, if you give a talk, you should have the next talk to offer them that they can come to, or whatever the next step is, the follow-up. What we've done here at ISV is to create an online community where after selling somebody a set of Bhagavatams or having a favorable interaction of any kind, we can invite them to come and take some introductory classes and get more acquainted with the devotees. And also keeping a list very carefully of everyone we meet. We're finding now in lockdown that the more that we're able to connect with people with specific information, the more powerful it is. For instance, if you meet somebody and you just write down their name and not much else, it doesn't help so much. But if you put as many contact points as possible and also any specific information, if the guy was walking a dog named Sparky, you write that down too. Because just imagine when you get back to people and say, "Excuse me, I called. What are you calling for? I just want to know how Sparky is." Sparky? Wow. Nobody's ever called for Sparky before. But if you know the name of the dog, you're in. And if you can get that specific information, it's really important. We noticed that after we got locked down, we started going back over a lot of the leads, names we've collected over the years, even back to 2014. Because we were so busy going on and on and on to the next people, we didn't follow up as thoroughly as possible, but we learned a lesson from that. So let's see if anybody else wants to give some other comments to that very important question about next steps after somebody gets a book.
I just got a letter from Anuttama Prabhu asking about the same thing, about follow-up. What are we doing with follow-up? It's a place where we're really lacking around the world. There was one devotee before he joined. He was a Mormon, and he said the Mormons were so organized on making people, devotees, joining their religion. But we're so focused on getting the books out, but we're not very good on bringing the people in.
Well, we are now, right? All that's
Well,
changing.
maybe ISV you guys are doing, but throughout the world, it's a problem. I mean, devotees have tried. I tried. It's something that what Anuttama Prabhu said is that we have so many professional IT people that we could somehow, I think we could figure it out, but we up to this time we haven't. It's a world problem. It's a major problem we have.
Okay, now let's hear the solutions. Everyone who has something working, please offer.
Kids can enroll for Bhagavad Seva classes.
Next 5 minutes. Yes, tell about it.
Kids can enroll for Bhagavad Seva classes, Prabhu.
Tell about it.
Oh, it's an online class that kids can actually enroll. It's an online Sunday school that's available. And our goal is actually, my goal for this next, after this Bhadra Purnima is to give presentations to all temples. So they will understand how to do it and they could also start the program. It's online Sunday school, or I can just say shloka classes that they will be able to teach different age groups, curriculum that's based from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And, they have some simple crafts and music that we teach, and we collect the fees, and the fees is used for distributing Srimad Bhagavatams.
Tell us how that's a follow-up to selling a book or a Bhagavatam.
Yeah, it's a follow-up because, it just started off as a small little community group that I had given Bhagavatam to my community people, and they all were interested to know what is there in the books. And so we started these classes and they're enjoying it. We have kids coming out for almost 2.5 years now. And so that it's a follow-up because you're teaching them what's there in the Bhagavatam actually through classes.
But the point is, after you sell a set, you're ready with the next thing.
That's right.
Correct?
Yes.
You're presenting Bhagavatam, they take the Bhagavatam, and then you invite them to Bhagavat Seva. It's an organized program that they can go into right away, and they pay for it, and they're very happy to have ongoing training, correct?
That's right. And we have
it's working, and it's spreading all over the world.
Yes,
Thank
we have
you very
almost
much.
100 kids enrolled now. Yeah.
That's not nothing. That's called putting roots down into a huge organization. Okay, we got a few minutes to brainstorm this. We want to hear from those who are getting success.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hey, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Paresh here from Melbourne.
Jai.
Under the guidance of Aniruddha Prabhu and senior devotees, what we do is we have Back to Godhead magazines from the temple. And back of the magazines, we have a list of Bhakti Vriksha group addresses and the names and the contacts. So when I distribute the books, then I talk about a little philosophy of Krishna and material life and anxiety and how to get out of all that. And after that conversation, when I see the participant is a little bit more interested, we hand out the list of contact and the Bhakti Vriksha group leaders' names. And that's locally. So we ask them to reach out to them for a couple of weeks and just see what's in it for them. If they like it, they can carry on from it. If they don't like it, they've got nothing to lose. So by that way, they have the book and they have the contact ready. But if I ask them to travel, 20, 30 kilometers to attend the Bhakti Vriksha class on Friday night or Saturday night, it's not practical. But when we give it the local connections of Bhakti Vriksha group within the area, I see that's working.
Prabhu, you're on mute.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Let's hear a few more.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So usually when I distribute a book or I come into contact with a person, even though they might not take Bhagavatam or any other book on an immediate basis, I usually keep contact with them over text or any kind of social media that they're using, that they're constantly in touch with. And that way, by feeding them little bits of information, they gradually come to a point where they want to take the book. And after taking it, they're much more grateful for it. And they're always keeping in touch and possibly connecting with the community.
Excellent. You make it a personal mission to follow up the people that you meet, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Very, very good. Excellent. We'll take two more, and including Mahotsava Prabhu.
Hare
would like
Krishna,
to know what's
Bhupet.
going on. Hare Krishna. Good to see you too.
Jai, Jai, bro. So we actually have this thing called, I don't know if you can see it anyway. On if you have an iPhone, you can use this, right? So there's this thing called creating shortcuts on your iPhone. So you can create a shortcut, and we actually had like one of our devotees, Yanadaba Gauranga Prabhu. He typed in a little bit of code for this, and you can make this thing called mass message, where you can link your phone to your MacBook and get all the contacts that you want, and then you can send out a message like just saying, Hare Krishna, and you can have their name. You can have a personalized message for each and every person, and you send out like a group thing. So sometimes what we do is, one thing that I do when I get people's phone numbers, because right now we're in Atlanta, I actually save people's phone number is, I save their name, and if you see my phone, I have so many names, just say Atlanta, 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 and I keep a date when I met him. So like I know exactly when I met him, and I have their last name, so it's Atlanta. So I send a message, a group message out, but it looks really personal. Like, hey, I was just thinking about you, bro. Remember you told me this? Like, what? But you can make this, and it looks like really personal. People get back to you, and when they reply back to you, then you come back and forth. And just because we're doing like this, our Sunday program has been great. Like a guy, he came, he bought books, he went to law school. He sent his buddy over, and like it was his first time meeting the devotees. And I told him, he's got to take a Bhagavatam set, man. He's like, what's a Bhagavatam? I don't, you got to take it, man. And like, we just, like, I just told him the Bhagavatam said, incarnation of Krishna, the best thing in the world. You want to have the best thing? Yeah, here's the best thing. Take the set. And, he just bought the set. He met the devotees the first time he came, he heard a class. It was raining. It was under a tree. He bought the set anyway. His work done. So this app, there's this thing called this shortcuts. And the shortcuts, you can go and do it. And then if you don't have an iPhone, I actually found this other app is really cool. It's called Reach. You have to pay $5 a month for this app. It's called Reach. Okay, it's called Reach Mass Texting. So if you do get this, then what you can do is then you can create your own groups of people, and you can also have your own messages that you send to these people, and you just have to, every message can be super personalized just by using this app. So these are two apps that we've been using, and it's been really great for us down here in Atlanta.
Mahotsa, you get extra points added on to everything because of...
Even the book points, because...
You can have book points. You can have whatever you like for sharing. Sharing means caring.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That was very powerful. Very powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Okay, one more about follow-up, and then we're moving on to a couple more points.
Hare Krishna. How are you?
Good to hear you. Hey, Jessica. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. How are you guys?
Okay.
Good. With myself, I actually have a separate email account. So I created almost like my own mini outreach program. It's called Connect the Souls. And that is just something very personal. And, I just follow up with people over there. And in Toronto, we have our own kind of outreach program. I'm a co-lead to it. It's called TST Connect. And we actually have training sessions of how to follow up with devotees. And we did a full seminar. We have a full Excel sheet, a Google Doc, and everything. And we really kind of always remind devotees to follow up. So as leaders, as book distribution leaders, we definitely have to encourage not just book distribution, but definitely follow up, and definitely having like a little funnel that we understand that there's so much time and effort into going into book distribution, but there also has to be the same amount of effort into follow up. So it's one and the same coin. So of course we have to be a book distributor, but we also have to be, how do we continue to remind everybody to kind of come to the temple, and it has to be very personalized. So with myself, I have my own kind of little outreach, and with the rest of the team, TST Connect, and that's a follow-up training session.
Thank you very much, Jessica. We'd like to have your seminar so that we can use it and export it, and any of the other ideas we'll package together and make sure we get them out to everybody as soon as possible. And now we have a little time left, so I want to hear from some of those who are doing a lot of sets in the next few minutes. Malini, I'd like to hear from you. Gopal Champu, you could talk a little bit about how the sets are flowing out. So Malini, go ahead and just give everyone your top tips for either how to distribute or inspiration.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhu, at ISV, we have been focusing on sets since Gaur Purnima, after Gaur Purnima. And what we found is calling party and follow-up has been working really, really well. And devotees here are also doing, each one doing a little bit. The entire congregation is involved. And we are reaching out to many, many people. And because of the inspiration of all the classes that the sannyasis and everybody has given, ISV devotees on Radhashtami, they sponsored 561 Srimad Bhagavatam sets in one day. So I think the calling parties are the one which are working really well, Prabhu.
What are you telling people when you call them? Just give us a sample like you just called us up, and what are you going to tell us?
So when we call them, we just introduce ourselves that we are talking from ISKCON of Silicon Valley.
No, pretend we're actually the people.
Oh, okay.
I could play the other part. You go ahead.
Okay.
Hello?
Hare Krishna.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
I'm coming.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you from San Jose, California?
I am. How did you know that?
Oh.
Yes, I'm from San Jose.
Hare Krishna. Oh, you visited our temple last year for Janmashtami at ISKCON of Silicon Valley. Remember?
Yes.
I think I'm having my bandwidth problem.
You're having audio issues right at the wrong time. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, can you hear me?
On and off. It's coming in and out.
Prabhu, I can say some other time, Prabhu, some other devotee can go. I can switch.
Okay. All right, Gopal Champu, give us some information we can use to expand book distribution all over the world.
That's Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So, one thing we've been doing, just like Malini Mataji mentioned, just reaching out to contacts and really just being very personal with people, and just checking in with them, seeing how they're doing. Like, for example, there was this I can give an example. This Rudge, his name is Rudge. I had met him in Penn Station about a year ago, and I kept his contact. I saved him in my phone, and I just saved in when I met him, and what books I gave to him. And so when this lockdown happened, we were kind of just brainstorming, what are we going to do? And so I just went through my phone, and I gave him a call, and I asked him if he had been reading the books. He said, yeah, I started attending Bhagavad Gita classes online. And so I started talking to him about the Bhagavatam, and I told him how, I told him, if I would have told you a couple months ago that the whole world would have been locked down right now, would you have believed me? He said, no way. So I said, exactly. So I said, you see, we have the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence of all knowledge. I said, and if right now, if all electricity, everything was to go out, if you have this set in your home, and you would become so empowered to be able to restart civilization just by having this knowledge, because this is the essence of all knowledge. And he said, I'll tape one right now. You got to send me one right now. So, and just like that, just been, contacting people. And then the shipping process, BBT is doing a fantastic job. We email the orders into Jagadishananda Prabhu, just the person's name and address, and he ships it out within a week. And it's just a simple process, and it's very nice. So we're able to, even though we don't have actually many Bhagavatams stocked up here, but BBT's been shipping everything out for us, and now we're at 297. Yeah, 297. Yeah, 297, 296.
Haribo! Haribo, that's huge. Fantastic. Congratulations. You're doing major damage to the Kali Yuga.
Yes, true. Another thing which is like working for us is just taking the sets to the parking lots. I mean, parking lots are huge. It's
Patel
like
Brothers.
Patel Brothers here, there, whoever comes there, We just take, what we do is we don't even like have our own carts. We just take the Patel Brothers shopping carts or the Target shopping carts, and we just load it up with Bhagavatams, and we just go up to people's, trunk and like, hey, what's up? Hey, yeah, you gotta take a Bhagavatam. What's the Bhagavatam? Don't worry, let's look. Let me show it to you, And we just do the same thing. Like, yeah, let me see. You never saw this, right? Come on, you should have this. So unique. You'll be the only one that has it. You're the only one. Anyone in your family, never. Come on, you're the special guy. Take it, And we just, coax them somehow or the other. Just take the set, make them read a few pages from it. Like, one Mataji, she's like, oh my God, I was just thinking about this. And it was like a random verse about how Parikshit Maharaj was so charitable to people. And she started crying. I was just thinking, like, yeah, I have to take the set now, And we just take the book, we just take it out, we show it to people. I'm like, yeah, give me your address. I'm like, they're like, you want my address? Like, I have to send you the books, right? You have to give me so we just have one set. But although we have one set, we distribute like hundreds of sets. Because we get these people to ship these sets out, So that's another thing. It works.
Wow.
And that way you have their phone number, you know where they live, that's a big follow-up.
Today we went to one gentleman's house who had taken a Bhagavatam set, and he was so grateful. He was like crying, this is the first time sadhus have come to my house, and we did a little RT to the Bhagavatam set, and so he was really happy. And he actually he might organize something where we told him, you should tell the people you get on the call on to
about the Bhadra campaign.
We showed him the Bhadra verse. He was like, "This is unbelievable!
Oh my God, and he was like, blissed down." But yeah, black people, trust me, you can approach the black people. They're taking Bhagavatams. They have no problem with taking the Bhagavatams. Anyone is taking it, especially, I don't know why, Vaisesika Prabhu, I don't know why they're so interested right now, but they got to ride the black wave, man. You got to get on. It is super good. Anyone really into books, it's amazing.
The brothers
love the books. It's amazing.
Haribol!
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for bringing your powerful energy from down there. Malini, you're back in another room with some internet. Give us a few tips.
Sure, Prabhu. Prabhu, we have been calling especially our old contacts. So one day I called my colleague, whom I worked with almost 9 years ago. And I called her and I said that, how are you doing, especially in this time of COVID-19 and everything. And she said, like how it is, life is so boring. It's so depressing watching the news and everything. And then I said, like, have you tried reading something? Because reading is really good. And then she said, oh, you know what? I picked up a vow or a resolution that I will read one book every month. And then she said, I tried the library in my house and I went through each and every book, but it's almost going to end. I don't have many books to read. Then I said, why don't you read Srimad Bhagavatam? It has 18 books, so it will never end for you so quickly. And then she said, oh, what is this Srimad Bhagavatam? And I explained what is this Bhagavatam about and how it has all our culture and tradition from India. And this is what the sages from all the sages in our ancient times have actually recommended to read this book. And if you read this book, trust me, you will not ever go and find another book to read, because this is so satisfying for your heart and this will never end. So she was very happy. And then she immediately I said, how do I get the book? We said, just fill out this form. The box will be there in front of your house. I spoke to her on Saturday and it was delivered the next day. And she said, oh my God, I can't believe the books are already here. Then I can start opening the box and start reading it. So just like that, we are trying to make some connections and we are trying to find one thing that they want to do or like to do, and then we connect them with Bhagavatam.
Oh, this is very key point you made about connections, and what Mahotsav Prabhu and Gopal Champu Prabhus have both been saying about being personal with people. And you don't have to be a Gyani or anything like that. You just have to be nice and personal, and you have to show it. And Krishna will reveal a pattern for you to follow. He'll tell you, here's how you should follow this pattern. You can also pick up the patterns that other devotees are using to sell and just imitate it and just follow in the footsteps. These are divinely revealed ways to distribute books. So feel free to just completely imitate what others are doing. Malini, go ahead.
Prabhu, can I also make one more point?
Yes.
The devotees are also trying another new thing here, is that we are doing a 3-way calling or a 4-way calling. If they're not comfortable presenting a Bhagavatam set by themselves, they actually get on a conference call. We have 2 or 3 devotees on a conference call, and they're trying to call the other person, and they complement each other or help each other to present a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. And so far, what we have seen with this 3-way or 4-way calling, it's 100% success rate, Prabhu.
That's pretty high percentage. 100% is what we like to hear. Nice, Malini. Thanks for mentioning that. Shraddha, you want to mention anything? I think she's on the other line. From New Zealand, Australia, would anybody like to bring up any points, just practical points about distribution that you think everyone can benefit from? And then we'll close the call in the next few minutes after that. What's working? What's a principle we can take, or a mantra that we can use, or an app if you have one? Let us know. Okay, anyone from anywhere else? We'll take one last from anybody wants to unmute. Are they able to unmute?
Yep. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We have Baba Vibhushan Prabhu, who's our traveling Sankirtan leader, who would like to share some tips on how to distribute a set of books.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
Prabhu,
everyone.
please
Please
go ahead.
accept my humble obeisances. So
Hare
we
Krishna,
started.
Maharaj. Can you hear me?
Yeah, somebody already started. We'll get right to you. Right back with you, Shraddha.
Sorry, Sam.
So we started traveling Sankirtan about 2 months ago, and we went to the countryside of New South Wales where the restrictions aren't so much. And we've just been doing door to door. And we've just been doing a set of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Krishna books. So we just hold the 3 books in our hand and we just knock on the door, and whoever it is, we just put the books in their hand and just present all 3 of them, say this Bhagavad Gita's basic knowledge about, mind, body, soul, about karma, reincarnation, as all the ancient wisdom and philosophy from India. And this Bhagavatam is the sequel to it. And then we present the Krishna book as like a nice stories with philosophy. So I usually tell people that Gita and Bhagavatam, it's like more for the head, more philosophy. And Krishna book is more for your heart, just for relaxing. When you want to relax or just lay back, just read some nice soothing stories, good for the heart, good for just for relaxing, you can read the Krishna books. And this way, we've been having a lot of success in door to door. And a lot of people from a lot of Australian elderly people, a lot of people in their 70s, 80s, and even one lady I met, she was 97 years old. So a lot of these elderly people who are living in their house by themselves, they have nothing to do, they're bored or just doing the same thing over and over again. When they suddenly see us with these amazing, beautiful books of Srila Prabhupada, with the Sanskrit, with so many beautiful colored pictures, they're just amazed. And many of them are just giving $50 and just taking a whole set of Srila Prabhupada's books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna book. And we've also been, in terms of follow-up, we've started this website called thehappyjiva.com. So it's kind of like a monk run thing. And we're also starting to start a Facebook group and Facebook page called The Happy Jiva. And what we've done, we've got these stickers with our website, and we've been pasting these stickers in all the books we're distributing, all the hardbound books. So all these people who have been taking a set of Srila Prabhupada's books like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Krishna book, as soon as they open the front page, they'll see the sticker with our website, www.thehappyjiva.com. And we tell them this is our website, you can learn more about us. And on this website and our Facebook group, Facebook page, we've been putting up some quotes of Srila Prabhupada, and we've been putting up some pictures and updates and a lot of videos. So we're doing videos on different topics, putting these up on our website and Facebook group. It's like a working thing. We're planning to put more and more videos in this way, follow up on these people. And we're planning to put up some online courses. And one really nice story is that we met one nice yoga teacher I met on books while distributing in these rural towns of Australia. the population is less, maybe 10,000, 20,000. And in these small towns, everyone seems to know each other. So if you're able to distribute books to some big guy in the local town, like the local yoga teacher or the owner of the local spiritual shop, then I take a picture of them, like the local yoga teacher holding a stack of Prabhupada's books. And when I go door to door, I show them that, hey, you know this guy, your local yoga teacher, he took a set of books, and everyone seems to know each other. So if they see a picture of one of their friends or one of the local persons in the town taking a set of books, they get inspired and they also take a set of books. And some of these contacts we've got through book distribution, they've come back and they've been inquiring about, hey, I want to go attend a Gita class. And these are all Westerners, like countryside of New South Wales, more than 99% is all Australians, no Indians, no one else. It's all Western, pure Australians in this countryside. In the big cities like Sydney, along the coast, it'll be a mixed bag, 30% or more Indians and other nationalities. But in this countryside, it's all Australians. So it's really nice to reach out to the local people of Australia from all ages, and even the Aboriginal people, the Indigenous people. I've been having a lot of luck with the Black people of Australia also, the Indigenous Aborigines over here. I found they really like the Krishna book, but because here the Indigenous Aboriginal people, they have these things called the Dreamtime stories, which is like the stories of their culture. They have all these stories of different gods or nature. It's kind of like the stories of their culture. So I tell them that just like you guys have your Dreamtime stories, this Krishna book is the Dreamtime stories of India. And just like you have nice lessons you can learn from your Dreamtime stories, similarly, you can learn so many amazing lessons from these Dreamtime stories of India. And there's so much wisdom. And I show them pictures and they really like it. And a lot of these Aboriginal or these Black people of Australia, they've been taking Krishna book and even a set of Srila Prabhupada's books. And I found with these Black people of Australia, they have a very close community. Like everyone seems to know each other. Like one Aboriginal person I met, he happened to be an elder, or elder is kind of like a head of a tribe. So he's kind of like a fatherly figure for all the other Aboriginal people. So I didn't know that he was like an elder. I just sold him a book. I sold him a set of books, Bhagavatam, Gita Krishna book. And I just took a picture just for the sake of memory or to pass on back home in Sydney. And later on, when I was distributing to other Aboriginal people, I was just showing them pictures on my phone and they happened to see this guy and they all recognized him. Hey, I know this guy. He's my pop. You know, he's like the elder of our tribe. And another Aboriginal person, when he saw his picture, he said, yeah, I know this guy. He's my cousin. And then he went all around his home and he showed everyone in his family, hey, look, it's our cousin. You know, he took a set of books also. Like this first Aboriginal guy I met, somehow or other by Krishna's arrangement, by Paramatma, he arranged that we somehow or other were able to sell books to one of the main heads of their tribes. And just by seeing a picture of that head of the tribe, the elder, so many other of these Black people in Australia, they've been taking these small towns. And these favorable contacts we've been passing on back to we have these things called Bhakti Sangha groups back in Sydney, which is like a group, study groups for Westerners. So the Westerners here in Australia, just like we have Bhakti Rickshaw for the Indian devotees, in the same way, Western contacts, we have formed these Bhakti Sangha groups where they get cultivated. So all these favorable people we've been meeting in countryside of New South Wales, we've been getting their contacts and forwarding it back to our Bhakti Sangha groups in Sydney. And now they're joining the Zoom classes and studying Bhagavad Gita and slowly getting cultivated like this. And there's some more stories, but I think being inspired by everyone else's association, I think I've spoken a bit too much. So.
Not at all. Not at all. Thank you very much, Gyanesham Prabhu. We'll take one last because we're over time. Shraddha, can you give us a short synopsis of how the team out there for corporates is getting so many Bhagavatams out to people?
Yeah, thank you so much, Maharaj, for giving an opportunity, and I'll be short and brief in cognizant of the time. So we distribute books mostly in the offices. So our modus operandi is slightly different. We are basically dealing with people who are already facing all the troubles that one faces in office. So positioning a Bhagavatam is a little bit easy for us there. What we try to do when presenting the Bhagavatam in offices is we're not able to bring out the devotional aspect of Bhagavatam in the first go. So instead of that, we glorify the Bhagavatam by way of the contents that are there in the Bhagavatam, typically things like, do you know what a hexaatom is? And most of them don't know what a hexaatom is. And then we tell them, well, it's there in the Bhagavatam. Do you know what the fetus thinks while it's in the womb? They don't know that either. Do you know what heavenly planets are? And what's a universe and things like that. So they find that to be very exciting. And so that is the lure that we give, and they would take the book from us. And after that, as follow-up, like once they purchase a Bhagavatam from us, they are ours forever. So we will be following up with them by telling them what classes are available, teaching Bhagavatam. And if they have any questions, they can come and ask about them. And whenever there is a festival, we remind them about that. Whenever they have a birthday, their birthday, their family, kids' birthday, birth, when they're leaving, when we talk to them all the time. So it's a constant trickle of communication as well as prasadam that we give them. And most of them, always come back and, sponsor more sets and take more books from us like that. One of the things that I learned from Malini Mataji was that whenever we go out on book distribution, which should be more office to office rather than door to door, is that you should finish your rounds, whatever rounds that you're doing, like 16 or 8 or whatever you're doing, you finish them all first before you go out on book distribution. So that's all I had, Maharaj.
That's a lot. It's fantastic. It's very helpful. And I'm getting messages from various devotees about this session, the entire session, of how it's helpful, it's edifying, and we plan to do this more often. It's the mercy of the Bhagavatam that we're together. The last now, and Kameshri, please be brief, because we're over time, but just we want to get in a very important aspect, which is Kids Sankirtan, which has been producing about 20% or more of our results. So please go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So here at ISV, kids are presenting the books. They are actually distributing the books. So parents are connecting the kids to possible recipients. Like I contacted my friends and my colleagues, and I sent a message that my son, he's in 9th grade. He's volunteering to preserve the Vedas for ISKCON of Silicon Valley, and he has an assignment to contact 5 families every week and give a presentation about importance of preserving the Vedas. And the response is very nice. They are very encouraging to the kids. So then we set up a Zoom call where kids present the Bhagavatam, and all of the community, all the families, they have tried this with their children, where the kids are presenting in English. Sometimes they're presenting in Telugu or Tamil, the language they can connect, and their kids are quoting shlokas, the stories they like, and it's very, very effective because generally people really, they encourage the kids. One of the friend, I contacted my friend, she knows Advait when he was from young age, so she was really, appreciated. She said, oh, I would like to hear from him. And she happily took the set. And similarly, there are many other stories. And also when on the presentation side, when the other family have their own kids listening to the presentation, the kids connect to kids, and the other kids say, oh, I would like to have this story book. And then the parents say, yes, I want this. So kids have done about close to 90 sets so far in the lockdown. Since we started with the support of all the parents, they are participating along with their kids. So this is one of the efforts that we are doing with the kids. Thank you.
Way to go, Kameshri. Revolutionary. Fantastic. Okay, everybody. We're counting down the minutes now until Bhadra. This pressure that we've all put on ourselves, taken on us, is coming from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to help us advance in devotional service and help all the people of the world. Every time that we make the endeavor to go out to distribute books, or we stay in and we cross that threshold, whether it's making a phone call or walking to some place to distribute, this is pleasing to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every time you're rejected, you're getting spiritual blood for your spiritual body. It's the way to become mature, actually, is to face whatever resistance or fears are there and try to do something for Lord Chaitanya. And as His Holiness Devamrita Swami said, that when we see the magic that ensues from our being an instrument, we get to see firsthand how this is happening by the spiritual energy. We're only instruments, and as instruments, the more we use our intelligence collectively to organize, to have follow-up, we can, as a global team, dominate the world in distribution of the best of all literatures. Better than any other literature that's on the planet. We can prove it. We have the proof. It's in the Bhagavatam. And so there are other groups that have organized over the years. The Christians have organized. They even came up with the first printing presses. There's some groups, they have gigantic organizations taking in millions of dollars every year. We will too. We have to. And so to do that, we have to work together. We're all one team all over the world, although we have our separate entities. It's Achinta Beda, Beda Tattva. But remember that the more we cooperate and the more we go for the global goal together, the more we can measure it and say, this is what we did this year, and next year we're going to double it together all over the world. And the more we get a lot of people each doing a little bit and make it part of the ethos for the entire society, that we should be reaching out to people and distributing thousands and tens of thousands and millions of books, then the more we'll be able to reach our goal. And that way we can leave this world, whenever that may be, as Sukhi Naras, or happy humans. If we're able to please Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by putting our full effort into this and making something that will shock the world, that the Hare Krishnas dominated the world through the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, then we will be happy, without a question. So I thank all of you for taking your time to come out here tonight. Huh?
Hi, Prabhu. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
But as Srimad Bhagavatam set just went out.
Haribol. We'll take it.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's a good place to end the whole thing. And remember, in a couple of days, we're going to have an online fire yajna that you can observe. And at that, everyone's name who's distributed a Bhagavatam set will be mentioned. That is, if you call it in by tomorrow or send it in. And dear Srila Prabhupada, if you so desire, please empower us to distribute your Srimad Bhagavatam in ever-increasing numbers and with a sensitivity to all the people that we meet, and to also develop more and more follow-up so that people have a fast track they can start on to become Krishna conscious. Everyone who agrees with these ideas in part or in whole, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. क्या बोल रहे हैं? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Do big. Go for it. Do big. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Don't look left behind.
Hare Krishna.
Dear devotees, thank you so much for joining today. There's also another Bhadra call happening tomorrow, and the live stream will